Jacob Blake shooting. What did you make of the NHL taking a pause in solidarity with the Jacob Blake shooting? Did you like that? Did you not like it? Was it good enough for you?
Yeah, it was good enough for me. I
Mhm.
mean, I think it's like I don't look at these things as I'm not a barometer for what's right and what's wrong. Like what I feel like I'm a barometer for is conversation and honesty. And
Mm.
I said on my podcast this morning, like I was disappointed. Like when I woke up that Thursday and we didn't have hockey that night, I was disappointed. Like I was selfishly thinking like I want to sit on the couch with my son Nash tonight and watch a game. And then what happened was I read this article in the New York Times on Brianna Taylor.
Mhm.
And in the article they referenced a video of a kid from 3 years ago who he got pulled over by police. I believe he was in Louisville,
You
maybe,
sent me the
or
video and I watched it.
yeah,
Yep.
and like it was a very disturbing video where white cops pulled over a black kid that was driving his mom's car, and they taunted him and they interrogated him and they went through a song and dance that made me feel so uncomfortable and so angry. And I think to myself, okay, why did I see this today? Because I don't normally read the New York Times. And what it did was it kind of put me in the position of like, okay, why are we taking these 2 days off? And somehow I started to reflect on what does this mean? Not on like, did they do it too late? Should they have done it at all? Who was the guys taking the charge? This is why I think we're taking a moment. And as long as we're being honest that like
Mm.
we don't know everything and this doesn't feel normal to us. And one other thing that I think was very interesting, I saw NHL on NBC.
Mhm.
They were promoting a YouTube channel that they have for diversity, and it was Anson Carter interviewing Daryl Nurse on the Oilers, and they were talking about where Nurse gets his haircut in Edmonton, and I was like, "This is unbelievable." You know what I mean? And as a white guy, I feel a little bit weird even saying this right now, but like, black guys get their haircuts by general barbers that know how to cut black hair, right?
Correct.
Like
Correct.
and for me to say that and feel uncomfortable out loud, I realize that, right? But I have to say it because I'm naive and I'm being honest and like I don't know these things. So the fact that something like that little piece of snippet came out of the behind the scenes YouTube channel when Shattenkirk said, "We don't want our brothers to ever feel uncomfortable," and I think that's what this whole thing comes down to. We are a team. We're all teammates. Okay. We're in this together. And for the guys to say, like, we don't want our black brothers to feel uncomfortable. And maybe that's why they did it. And if that's why they did it, that's a good enough reason to me. It's totally something that we've never had any real contact with. And like, we have to learn. And the only way that you can learn is by having these conversations. And
No,
that's it.
you're spot on. And you know what, Abe's, to be honest with you, I've had a ton of experiences, not even just in hockey, but in my life. And the reality is that with this issue, for us to move forward, and this is when you talk about honesty, because I want to break that down for a second. Being honest is also being honest with yourself and
Yeah.
understanding the place of where you're coming from. Like if I take this opportunity to really help grow the game, grow society, give back in a way that brings people together, then I don't use this platform to rectify issues that people have had with me in the past or things that people have done with me. That's being honest. That's honesty. So that's got to be my contribution as a black hockey player, as a black man, as a black person. That's got to be my contribution to society. And I think that that's where it's got to come from, because that's where the uncomfortable part comes from, is that it's not, listen, the conversation can be had. People can sit and talk about whatever they want. but it's understanding where people are coming from that's important. So I agree with you, Sean. Listen, with the Black Lives Matter movement happening, and people call it a movement, I don't really see it as a movement, because to me, Black Lives Matter is really what Black people live every day. It's not a movement. Like I wake up in the morning, I don't choose to be Black. I am Black. So regardless of what I do or what my profession is, you know, that's what we live every day. There's the pandemic. Go ahead.
No, I want to say something to that because it's interesting. When I think about these things and issues, I immediately think about my own personal experience. And what I say is like, I've got a new son, right? I've got a new son that probably is eventually going to become a hockey player, you know, chances are. And I think in my mind, like, okay, if I'm a dad on a team and I'm in the stands and I ever heard a white parent make a comment about one of the Black kids on the team, like for me personally, I nip that in the bud right away. Like I get up and I address that with whoever said it. And what I don't understand is that not everybody is like me, right? And things can fester, and that sort of like the me getting angry that people don't just address stuff and say like, you can't do that, and why do you think that this is okay, and why are we not all talking about it? The fact that I sort of get upset sometimes that not everyone in the room is as, I guess, abrasive or challenging or ornery or willing to address things, like
Yes.
things get lost and things, you know, boil down underneath, and then you get to this tipping point, you know, because I don't think people in hockey are racist, you know, I don't.
Isn't it culture also, though? Because I think that sometimes it's not so much that somebody can be a racist, it's culture. Like sometimes people grow up in environments where that's taught to be okay. Like if you
Yeah.
grow up in a household where your parents speak like that all the time, then you go to a locker room and you speak that way, you think it's okay. So I think it's also culture, because we can't also rely on the fact that all parents do a great job. Not all parents do a great job, right?
Right.
Not all parents do take the time, like yourself, Sean, to sit down with your child and teach them what's right and what's wrong, or how to treat people, or how to be comfortable in making sure that you understand that regardless of anybody's religion, culture, their views, the color of their skin, that you have to treat them with respect. Not everybody understands that, Sean. Not everybody's taught that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing too, which is the other issue, is like when I look at the police, right? And I'm living in New York right now. New York City is falling apart. New York City is a dangerous place to live, regardless of what de Blasio or Cuomo or any political person says. New York is dangerous right now. People are like, "Oh, you bash cops, you don't support the police." I want more police. I want police everywhere, but I want police that are physically fit, that are mentally sound, that can move on their feet quickly, that can make decisions, that can arrest criminals and not pull their guns out and empty a clip into them because they're not physically fit enough to chase a guy till he just gets tired or arrest a criminal. White, black, purple, yellow, it doesn't matter. I'm talking about criminals. I'm talking about people that are supposed to be following the law that don't follow the law. And you know, that's where I'm also disappointed, where I like the movement and I wish it was a little bit more focused on like, let's make these police accountable, but not like, you know, let's not defund the police. Like, I don't understand that. Like, we need law and order. That's what I think.
You know
So,
what? Listen, I think that there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of things that need to be answered. There's a lot of areas where people are still uncomfortable, and we have to work through those areas.